I wanted to make a video today for a lot of different reasons, kind of unlike the videos I usually make, because I don't know if any of you know, but it has recently been Deadlock's 1-year anniversary in development, and I mean, to celebrate that, we've had a ton of new heroes, a ton of players coming back to the game, big streamers coming back to the game, a lot of hype around this IP that I have grown to fall in love with for this last year. So, I wanted to take some quick time today, just a little bit of time, to go through some of my favorite memories of Deadlock in its first year, why I think Deadlock has been so incredible to be a player of and be a fan of this last year, and just kind of overall, in my own way, write a love letter to Valve, and to Deadlock specifically for being what has become my favorite game to play recently. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Dead Unlocked, and I'm really excited to go through this today. I want to talk about a lot of different things in this video. I really do. You're getting some very mid-Billy gameplay on screen. I finally got a game with them, so you're going to have to endure watching it. This is the first time playing the hero. Please excuse it. But anyway, in this video, like I said, I want to go through a few things that I love about the game, why I think if you're coming back to Deadlock, you should be really excited, and why I think this game is just so incredible, and why I think it deserves all the hype it's getting recently. So let's dive into the first point here. The overall idea behind this game is so original and so creative that I just, when I first saw it, I really don't felt like I didn't feel like I could look away. It was something that felt so rare and so new, and a lot of this has to do with its originality. This is a huge selling point for Deadlock that I think sets it apart of so many different IPs right now, is it feels so uniquely itself. It's not Marvel Rivals that's just playing off of Marvel heroes that we've all known our whole lives. It's not Fortnite or Overwatch constantly doing collabs with other games and bringing in other popular IPs. It's not IP hunting in any way. It's not trying to do that. It's just trying to be itself. And this is every single part of the game is like this. The map, the characters, the abilities, the items. Every single part of this game feels fresh, unique, original, creative, and intentional. And for me, that feels so hard to come by in modern society, not only just in gaming, even think about like cinema these days, right? Like everything is a remake of some kind, everything is kind of like a redone, rehashed idea. There's very little new ideas out there, it feels like sometimes, right? Deadlock feels like a really cool, really fresh new idea. And I think one of the biggest reasons this is the case is its genre. So this is obviously a hero shooter, MOBA, hybrid. It's going to be a lot of different things by the time it fully comes out. And that's something that we have seen a little bit before, I will say that. Like we've seen Smite, we've seen Paladins, we've seen, to a degree, Overwatch. I mean, there's certainly other MOBAs, other hero shooters, right? But Deadlock does feel like it's carved out a very unique piece of the kind of gaming genre ecosystem and made it its own. And I think I would not be surprised if we see more and more companies following suit and copying Deadlock and doing other things very similar to this game. Cough, cough, Overwatch Stadium doing a lot of similar things right now. The other facet I can really appreciate about this game's creation is that Valve has always, and it seems like always been keen, that they are okay with taking this game slow. I mean, I really think that when this game leaked, it was not necessarily intentional from Valve for that to happen. I don't think that was necessarily intended to be the case that Deadlock came out when it did, right? And that's something that I think is pretty rare when we look at other development studios and kind of what the accepted norms are and what the mantras are in gaming right now. I feel like most people are just trying to get out as many games as they can, as fast as they can, to sell as many copies as they can, and get as many dollars in their bank account as they can, right? I just said as they can about 10 times, so it's crazy. But you get what I'm saying. It feels like Valve and Deadlock are clearly not doing that. I mean, they have not made any money on this game so far. And it's been out now for a full year, and it's been tested, and has a lot of work behind it and all that. And that's because Valve believes in this as a long-term project. This is not a money grab to try and make a few bucks from a few thousand players, right? Like, this is something that Valve seems keen to grow and develop and to build. And as a player, isn't that what you want in a game? Games like Elden Ring are like this. They're built over an extremely long period of time. They clearly have a long-term vision in mind. I mean, Elden Ring is a magnum opus. I'm not trying to necessarily compare it to Deadlock rather, but still. There are games and creators with similar approaches where there is a kind of long-term play going on, and something that as a, 30-year-old gamer, I can really appreciate, because I don't want to just play a game that's going to fizzle out in 2 weeks. And Deadlock has certainly not been that. The other piece of the puzzle here is trial and error. Deadlock and Valve are not afraid of taking big swings, trying new things everywhere in between, right? I mean, look at the updates we've seen. The first update, February 2025, we go from 4 lanes to 3. That was a huge shift. I mean, those players that were playing back then can remember. I mean, having the solo lanes was crazy. I mean, it was a totally different kind of game in a lot of ways than it is now. Fast forward to May, we get the shop update. Then you have a totally new set of items, totally new art style. The game starts to feel like it has a semblance of like a texture, a personality to it, right? And then obviously in August, we get this update that just blows everything out of the water. The game feels very much like it has a cohesive identity. It has an art style direction. It really already has a soul. And this is a game that is essentially an alpha. That's unbelievable. And I really think if you compare it to a lot of other AAA games out there and other games that are competing with Deadlock even, you're going to find that Deadlock, I think, has a lot more to offer, even in a pre-release state, than a lot of these other games have in a quote-unquote polished state. And so again, just as someone who's appreciating what's going on, who's been playing games since the 90s, this is something I can really grow to love and appreciate and be thankful to Valve for. And just as a caveat, I'm not a lifelong Valve player. I didn't play Team Fortress. I didn't play Dota. I knew of those games, obviously. I've been a gamer for a long time, but I really didn't play a lot of the classic Valve IPs. I'm just now coming along over to the Valve train. And I can see why this developer has so many loyal fans and so many people who love their games and are very loyal to them. And I think we see a lot of this as evidence in the community and the way the community has responded back to Valve. I mean, Yoshi has said very clearly, we're very grateful for all the feedback we get from players. He's said that. I think devs have said that multiple times in this team, right? But this is more than just even like the feedback loop of giving bugs and reports back to the devs and the private build. Like there's a lot more going on than just that. Think about the esports scene, right? I do want to give a shout out to, it was formerly called Deadlock Fight Night. It's now Deadlock Night Shift. That had been going on for something like 30 weeks in a row, I think with only maybe 1 or 2 weeks off. And that was consistent, high-level gameplay put on by the community, for the community, in a game that, again, is in pre-release. I would argue, at certain points, Deadlock has had a better esports scene already than a lot of games with quote-unquote major esports scenes have. And again, I've followed esports for a long time. I got into the whole esports gaming space covering the Overwatch League in 2016. So I've definitely seen the good and the bad of esports scenes, right? But I don't know. It feels really special to have been a part of some of those early Deadlock Fight Nights. There's a lot of other things though, right? The Death Slam events are incredible. One Win was putting on some incredible events. Dead Air has been putting on a great event with Deadlock Deathmatch, I think is what it's called. Deathy essentially saved a LAN with Deadlock with the Death Slam group and everyone else. Antsnex was a part of that. So everything just feels like there's this amazing communal sense to it that everyone's on the same page. This is a game worth supporting, so we're willing to put in a little bit of extra sweat equity, a little bit of extra effort to make sure this thing works out the way we think it should. And this is not something you see in a lot of games. I mean, you almost see a lot of gamers these days preying on games' downfalls. I mean, how many FPS games have we seen die at market, like the day they come out, right? I don't want to throw out examples, I'm not trying to throw shade, but we all know the examples, right? There are so many games that it feels like people are turned off by from the beginning because there's like a lack of originality, a lack of all the things I've just said, right? So again, all of these people have stepped up and have done all these things for Deadlock, and it really has just been this incredible communal thing to be a part of now for 1 year, which is just, again, crazy to think. A big point I'm trying to get across here, and what I think really means something to me here, is that people believe in this game for some reason. I'm one of them, right? Like I started a YouTube channel for this game, and I'm dedicating a lot of my career now to covering this game, and I have a lot of ambition towards Deadlock, and I want to continue to cover Deadlock, and I think there's a lot of others like me that see the potential in this game, right? The question is, though, why? Why all these community events? Why do people believe in the game? Why do I think Deadlock's going to be so good? And again, why am I making this video in the first place? Honestly, it's for all the reasons I've already said, right? Like we've already gone through a lot of this. But Deadlock in 1 year, think about this, in 1 year has gone from what we originally saw it as, this really rough, cutout version, essentially, of a 4v4 MOBA FPS kind of game, to now what is an incredibly polished, personality-filled, robust game that has now gotten something like 10 new heroes total. I'd have to go back and look at all the new hero additions. A new map, a new shop. Every single thing about this game has changed essentially in 1 year. What is another game you could point at that's made the same level of ambitious change? Now obviously, this is a little bit of a scarecrow argument, right, or whatever it's called. Philosophy major really failing me right now. But you know, this is a game in its first year of development, so of course it's going to have more sweeping changes than other games, right? But I still think if you fast forward 1 or 2 more years ahead of time with Deadlock, can you all, I mean, realistically say to me, this game's not going to continue on a positive trajectory? What signs do we have that could possibly be the case? I really don't think there are any. Now, there's a lot of other games out there in the world that I could probably make a case for like some reason why they won't be successful. And I'm sure you could find some for Deadlock, right? Like, it is still an alpha. You know, there have been some critiques from streamers that have come out recently. I mean, XQC said something like the game feels like it's a little bit too much, it's a little too cumbersome for the player, a little too complicated, right? There's other things that folks have said, right? So there are, I guess you could come up with reasons to doubt Deadlock's trajectory, but they seem so much more far-fetched than the reasons to say, hey, I think Deadlock could be an incredible game. And I'm willing to say, I'll say it on the channel, it's the 1 year anniversary, I'm waxing poetic about the game, I'll say some crazy stuff. I think Deadlock in the future, very realistically and honestly, could be a #1 esports title, or at least in that conversation, right? Up there with League of Legends, Dota, Counter-Strike, Valorant, like these really heavy-hitting esports titles. I think it could be right up there with those. At the very least, I think it will always be an incredibly viable, competitive multiplayer title. And that's something that is really, really hard to do right now, especially with any kind of staying power. And so I think Valve knows this. I think they're working hard to prevent this. And that's why we're seeing such a slow progress, such a very intentional, dedicated communication with the community, and all the other things, like I said, we've gone through in this video. So I think Deadlock is on an unbelievable path forward. I think that this last year has been incredible with all of the changes. I don't think there's been a point this year where I've been upset with Deadlock. Now, maybe I've been like somewhat bored with the game for a month, right? Like maybe in between the shop update and the new heroes, that last month when we were just getting some balance changes and they were ironing some things out, maybe I was a little bit bored with the game then. I was playing slightly less per week, but I've never stopped playing this game. And that's what's so crazy, is I have not had a game like this in my life since probably Overwatch in 2016 or like Pokemon games when I was a kid that I've been this hooked to for this long. I'm an extremely fickle person. I like to move from game to game quite a bit, and I haven't with Deadlock. I've just continued to log, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game every week or so, right? And so I don't think I'm alone in that. I really, truly don't. And so there's something about this game that Valve has gotten really, really, really right. And so from Deadlocked, from all my community here, I'm not trying to speak for people in my comments who subscribe or anything like that, but at least speaking for myself, Valve, you've done incredible work with this game. Not trying to glaze just because, yeah, I make content about your game, but just being honest and earnest here. I really do appreciate what you have done with this game. You have a lot of the respect of the community. I think you know that, but I just want to have it be said here. Sometimes it's fair to have encouragement just be spoken out. I think it's a good thing, you know, put some positivity into the world, I guess. But I don't know, I just have a lot of love for this game, a lot of love for everyone behind it. Yoshi, the entire development team. I think you all should be really, really, really fucking proud of the work you've done on this game. It's an incredible game, and I think it will be around for a very, very long time. So, for those new players that have stuck around for this long in the video, or maybe even some veteran players, I think we have to ask the question, like we often do on this channel, what's next? What is next for Deadlock? What should you expect as a player? What should you be excited about as potential for the game? And what are some possibilities out there? I've covered a lot of leaks in the channel. I'm not going to necessarily go into like theory crafting specific modes or different things like that, right? But I do just want to talk about big picture what we might expect from the game in the next year, because this is a 1 year anniversary love letter, and I anticipate we'll have another one at the end of year 2 that is going to be unbelievable. Because I think by this time next year, I would be floored if this game is not in at least some kind of open beta, if not a full release. That is incredibly exciting because, yes, we might not see as big, you know, sweeping of changes as we did this last year, but the changes we're going to see are going to have such an impact on the game's kind of, you know, mid to long-term future that they're going to be almost like heavier-handed changes, right? Once Valve puts the game out there in a really kind of a more robust and full open way, open beta, full release, whatever we want to call it, as soon as that happens, the wide sweeping changes really can't happen quite as much. They are in this like sandbox right now where they can really do whatever, but I would expect in the next year, to just say it clearly, a lot of new game modes, matchmaking fixes, more heroes, another map, draft, queue changes. The list could go on for so long, y'all. You have no idea. Roles, bans, I mean, anything. There could be so much this game adds. It really is incredible to think about the potential of Deadlock in 2025 going to 2026. Now, if I'm wrong, we don't get an open beta or full release, honestly, I'm okay with that. That's what I've signed up for being a Deadlock player, and I hope people understand that, like, when I talk about the changes I want to see in an excited way, I'm doing that because I just honestly think that's what's going to happen. It's not necessarily that I think it has to happen. And that is a huge clarification I want to make. I think if you're a Deadlock player at this point, you should really love being a part of the ride. You are getting to witness right now one of the only games like this that you're ever going to get to see in this full of a development cycle. I mean, I remember, I played the alpha of Marvel Rivals, and I think I played maybe one game of the beta when it came out. It just wasn't a game for me. I really value Originality. That game didn't change just a ton. And I didn't get to go on a journey with like a small player base to go through this like unbelievable change and get all of a sudden really invested in this game. Yeah, when Marvel Rivals around. I got to do that with Deadlock. I mean, I felt like I kind of did in Overwatch because of what that community was in 2016. The inception of the Overwatch League felt really special. There was a lot of controversy around it. I understand it. There was a lot of missteps with that, but it still felt like you were a part of something almost like familial. The community felt really good at first. There's been parts of that have existed in gaming before, but I've never seen it quite like I have in Deadlock, and I've been in gaming for a long, long time at this point. Kind of a gramps. So, if you're looking ahead for next year, expect more of the same, big changes, ambitious changes. Expect the game to continue to get kind of a unique flavor to it. Expect more, I don't know, just additions. I think that's the thing, right? We have to constantly expect more and more from this game. Honestly, though, I'm just yapping because like I have so many thoughts, and there's really so many things that could be coming for this game. It's genuinely hard to quantify them and to articulate everything I feel about this game and what I think is coming in the next year. And I guess finally, what's now? What should you be looking forward to right now as a Deadlock player? Well, I will say right now, there are a lot of amazing creators out there in the Deadlock scene right now. I mean, there's going to be a temptation. I'm not trying to diss on big streamers like Stroud or XQC or anything like that, but they aren't necessarily tied to a game like Deadlock. Like they will play Deadlock and probably move on to another game because that is like the career they've earned and the position they're in as a streamer. Creators like Deathy or Hanson X or even like Andrew Chicken, Mast at times, like there's Midlock, there's so many. I'm not going to name all of them, and I apologize for if I didn't mention anyone that I should have. These streamers are incredible right now, and I think this is a really good community for you to find some good educational content in if you're trying to learn the game. I think that's where like us as the content creators are going to have to step up and really help folks to learn this game. It's very complicated. XQC wasn't wrong in saying this game is cumbersome to play. I don't think that's a reason not to play it, but people are going to need help learning this game. That's on the players in the community, and it's on the content creators in the community to help make that happen in just a more earnest sense. Otherwise, right now, we obviously have 2 more heroes to come out still, and then after that, we have another major update likely coming to the game. Now, again, I don't know. None of this has been confirmed. All we've heard from Yoshi is that they're not really worried about the open beta right now, that they're going to essentially continue to get feedback, and that's the most important thing. And that is still true, and that is still a huge part of where Deadlock is at right now, is living in that unknown. So if you're a Deadlock player right now, I guess I'll just give this last parting message. Enjoy where the game is right now, because we will never be in this point of the game again, and I honestly doubt, semi-genuinely, and this is kind of a pessimistic thought, I kind of doubt we will ever see a game developed like this again, where you bring in a group of players that starts incredibly massive and then kind of whittles down to a loyal 5-figure number, and they get to see the entire development build of the game. This is such a special thing in gaming, such a cool thing in gaming, and I don't know, y'all, I'm just happy to be a part of it. So Wanted to come today. We've got a new hero coming later today. I just wanted to come on, give some positive vibes, talk about a game I really love, show off some very mediocre Billy gameplay. We won this game, by the way, I think. It's awesome. And talk about a game that I really, really love. I hope this resonates with some of you all. I may not have said a whole lot here. I may have just rambled. Apologies if I did. But at the end of the day, I've been sick. I wanted this video to come out last weekend, but I had a 103-degree fever, and so I just couldn't do much. Still reeling a bit from it. But at the end of the day, thank you all so much for tuning in, as always. I really appreciate all the likes and subscribes. We're really close to 1,000. Would love a like and subscribe to help me get there. This is a channel that's not going anywhere. I'm going to continue to cover Deadlock. We've only been covering it as a channel for the last couple months. I've been covering it over on our website, thegamehaus.com, for much longer than that. But we are very, very excited for the next year of Deadlock. I hope you all are too. So, Deadlock, happy 1-year anniversary from us here at Dead Unlocked. We'll see you all for the next one. And thank you all so much for tuning in, as always. We'll see you all next time.